Good morning, Digital Photo. This is Mr. Roper, and today we're going to be tackling your summative project for our unit on line, shape, and space, and that's the poster with emphasis. In this project, you're going to be taking a photo of your own and then editing it and adding text and graphics to turn it into a powerful poster directed at a social issue that's important to you. When you're putting it together, it's going to be really important that you're demonstrating those three elements that we studied. So we want to see some line, we want to see use of shape, and we want to use good use of space in your image. I'm also going to be looking for adjustment layers, that you've changed something about the photo to edit it in an interesting way, and that you're using text effectively. So I'm going to cover all of that in this very quick demo this morning that you can follow along with, and then you can wrap up your poster on your own time. So I've given you lots of different resources on Google Classroom that you can use, including the website DeFont, where you can find some really great fonts for your project. I'm going to jump right into Photoshop, though, and I'm going to be using a photo that was taken by one of my photo students probably 2 years ago. Nicholas Larson took this one, and I thought it was a really powerful image. It's got good use of space. It's got bright contrast. He used a bold pop of color with an adjustment layer to make the tape stand out. And so I'm going to actually use this as the basis for my poster. Okay. So I'm going to open up a new document, File, New, and I'm doing something as a photo here. So I'm going to click Photo, and let's use a nice big one here, the 8x10 photo. And up here in the top, we're going to name it with your last name, first name. And this is going to be your poster with emphasis. Okay. I'm going to hit create, and this gives me my blank document to work with. Now, one of the first things I think you should do when you're setting up your poster is to bring up your rulers and create a safe zone. So to get your rulers, you're just going to press Control R, and that toggles the rulers on and off. And then we're just going to pull down from the ruler these invisible blue guidelines. And I'm going to quickly put in some guidelines just around the outside edges of my poster to create what's called a safe zone. This is just an area where no text is going to go beyond. And that keeps it looking organized, and it makes sure that none of your text hits the side of your page. Okay. Then I'm going to go grab my photo. So I'll bring Nicholas's photo into this document. And it's nice and big there. Let me zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to shrink it down using Control T for transform. Grab it from a corner and shrink it to fit in my design. Now you'll notice that that left a little bit of open space at the top. And since this is a pretty plain background, I can actually fill this in to create some more space here. And it's really a cool little trick. What you do is you take your marquee tool and you put a box around what you want to fill in. Plus I'm grabbing a little bit of the blank part of the photo there. And then I'm going to go up to Edit, Fill, and when my options pop up, I'm going to choose this thing called Content Aware. What Content Aware does is it looks at the pixels that are nearby and it uses those to fill in the empty space. So check this out. I click it and it runs, and boom, it fills in that space really carefully with pixels from down below. So it creates almost a seamless background. Awesome. So now I've got that photo in place. Now I'm going to base my poster off voting because I think that's such a huge issue this year. And so I'm going to make this a poster based around the idea of don't let them silence your voice, right? Register to vote, vote, get out there and be a part of a campaign. And so on this one, I'm going to start using my text tool to put some of that in here. So I'm going to take the text tool, which looks like a big capital T here on your toolbar. And you just click once anywhere on the screen, and it opens up with some generic text that you can use. So I'm going to put, don't let them silence you. And it's really, really big. So if I want to change the font and the size here, I can just double click this T down on my layers palette. And along the top, you get all of your text options, okay? So let's choose a big, bold font for this one. I want something that's really powerful. I'm going to use this font that I got from defont.com called Bebas. It's bold, it's all caps, it's nice and tall. I like that. I'm going to change its text size right here. So I'll change this down to, let's try 60. Let's see if that'll fit. Oh, it's close. Okay, let's double click it again. And I'll change this from 60 to, let's put in 50, I think will work fine. Great. And then along here, I can choose the color for that font. So I'm going to double click it. My little color picker pops up. And I think I'm going to use a bright red to kind of go with what I've got there. Actually, that might be a little bit hard to read. Let me pick something like that. Okay. Awesome. Now I can use my move tool to grab this text and move it around on the screen wherever I want it to go. And Photoshop will help you. It'll give you those like purple lines there telling you when it is centered. Now this text looks good, but it's also very flat. And we have lots of tools in Photoshop that can make our text look more interesting. What you do is you come over and you right click that layer and you go to blending options. Okay, blending options are all the different text styles that you can put on a layer. So for example, I could do add a stroke. So I click the word stroke. I choose the color. I'm going to pick, let's see how it looks with white. That looks pretty good. And then I can change the size of that stroke by turning this up or down. So I'm just going to give it a thin white line there. I want to also make sure that the stroke is outside the lettering, not inside, because when it's inside, it looks like this. It like makes the letters skinnier. If I put it outside, the letters stay the size they're supposed to be, and it just gets an outline behind the back of it. Okay. Another nice one to use here is if I scroll down and I choose drop shadow, that will add a shadow beneath the layer. And then over here on the options, I can control how far away the shadow is. So I'm going to bring down its distance. I can turn up its spread if I want it to spread out a little bit more. And I can change its size using these sliders. And oftentimes that helps your text stand off of that background, especially when the colors are really light. So that looks great. I'm going to hit OK. And I've already got my text in place for my poster. Okay. Now, I'm also going to add a few other elements here. I think I want to put a shape in this to kind of represent voting. So I'm going to come over to my shape tools. And if I hold down on here, you see that I've got rectangles, I've got circles, I've got lines, and then I've got custom shapes. So I'm going to click custom shapes. And along the top, you've got your options for how this shape is going to look. Right now, if I were to make a shape, it's going to be empty fill. It's going to have a white outline, about 20 pixels. And then you pick your shapes from over here. So let's see if I can find one. There's a nice like check mark for voting. I like that. So I'm going to pick that shape. And then I'm just going to click and drag to create that shape right here. Now, once I've drawn it, you see it pops up as its own layer. And I can still go in and change the color and fill up here. So I'm going to say, yeah, let's fill this with white. And let's reverse it where it has like a red outline. I like that. Take my move tool and I can put this, maybe down here on my design. Okay. I have a motto, but I don't really have a message yet. So I should put in here, let's create some more text. Register, if I can get it right, I'm going to do that as one line. And then I'm going to do another text layer for the word vote because I'm going to make this one a lot bigger. And I think I'm going to pick a different font for it. I'm going to grab the word vote. And let's find a font that is larger. I like this one that I have, Archive. It's kind of thicker and wider. That looks great. And I'm going to transform it, edit, transform, scale. And I'll just pull it out here and drop it where I want it to go. I'll take my word register to, maybe like set it over here. This looks pretty nice. I can always change the color on here. If I jump in and I can pick a different color. And then I think I'm going to also add a little line here above vote and below vote. So I'll come over to my shape tools again, and I'm going to choose the line tool. It's going to be a 20 pixel white line, and I'm going to click and just drag straight across. That makes one line. Drag straight across. It makes two lines. And if the lines feel a little bit too skinny, like I said, you can always change that. You know, I just click on the shape. Let me grab my shape tool again. Boop. And then as long as I'm on that layer, I can go up here and change the thickness. So let's turn this up a little bit more. We can even do dash lines if we want, which is kind of cool. If it's not doing what you want here, I'm just going to delete those two layers and let me redraw the line. Let's make this 40 pixels this time. I'm going to put a line straight across. And I think I'm just going to copy this line this time. I'll take that layer, right click, duplicate, and then I'll drag the copy, drag the copy straight down. Photoshop's helping me keep it lined up. That looks awesome. Okay, so let's take a look and see if I've got some requirements here. I've got text with text effects. I've got good use of space around the outside. I've got some line that is guiding my eye across the message, even with this check mark is kind of pointing me in the direction I want to go. And I've got really nice shapes with the photo that I took because it's got this hard outline around the outside. So it creates this nice shape that fills up the middle. The last thing I want to do is tell my audience where to go to actually vote here. So let me see if I can jump in really quick. Here's my... So I'm going to jump over to Google really quick, and I'm just going to get some information on voter registration. The first result that I get back here, which is a sponsored one, or the official one, I should say, is for California. The website where people can register is registertovote.ca.gov. So I definitely want to send my audience to go do that. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to jump back over. Let's take my text tool again. And I'm going to switch back to my other font, Babus, paste in my text. Let's make this one a little bit different. I'm going to go white text this time. And I'm going to make it a lot smaller. Let's knock it down to like 36 point. Awesome. And I can use this, maybe center it right underneath that. Okay, I've got a big, bold poster with easy to read text, a clear message. It's telling people what they can do to help. The only other thing I would maybe play around with is adding these same text effects to the rest of this. I really like how this turned out, so I think I might do that here on register. If I like this effect, I can always copy it and put it on this layer. So let's try that. Let's go to here. I'm going to right click on Don't Let Them Silence You. And I'm going to say copy layer style. Okay. So it's going to copy all those effects that I put on there. And then I'm going to go to the register layer, right click and say paste layer style. And boom, it drops that in there. Fantastic. I think I can do the same thing on the word vote. Let's paste that same layer style. Awesome. Cool. I'm very, very happy with this poster. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and save it up now. I want to save one copy as a Photoshop document. So I'll go File, Save As. I'm going to save it on my computer. And I'll just navigate to my folder. You guys have your own folders here. I'm just going to put mine on my desktop for now. Roper Zach, poster with emphasis. And I'm saving it as a Photoshop. Okay. And then the copy that I'm going to turn in for class, I'm going to go to a JPEG. So I'll go File, Save As. Save on my computer. And this one I'm just going to change from a Photoshop to a regular old JPEG. Save, hit OK, and boom, I'm ready to turn this in. I've got an awesome poster, and it's emphasizing all the different things that we've covered in our first unit. So guys, that's what we're going to be doing today in class. And if you don't finish up, you can always work through the long weekend, and we'll get them all turned in by the time we come back next week. Okay, have fun with it, and I'll see you very soon.